Hello, learners. In the episode 2 of the week 3 for the course of SOC 1010 Introduction to Sociology, we will talk about deviance and crime and the especially sociological aspect to deviance and crime. At the first of the chapter, we have some questions for you to thinking about and gaining a deep consideration about the crime and deviance. Have you ever been deviant? How did you know that you were deviant? Are we good at measuring crime? And what are the goals of punishment? These are the basic questions for studying in this chapter and to deep thinking about the object and subject of the chapter. And chapter outlines are what is deviance, functional perspectives, and deviance, conflict perspectives, and deviance, symbolic interactions perspective and deviance, postmodernist perspectives and deviance, crime classification and statistic, the criminal justice system, and U.S. deviance and crime in the future. Like other chapters, at the end of the chapter, we are talking about the future of the subject and objects of the chapter. And like other chapters, we are talking about these questions, the sociology and everyday life, or daily aspects or daily usage of sociology in daily life. When the unspeakable happen, the total number, how do you think about this? Is it true or false? The total number of reported violent crimes increases each year in the United States. How do you think about the total number of reported violent crimes increases each year in the United States? Is it true or false? Also, a lot of people think that it is true, but it is false. Aggravated assault account for the highest number of violent crimes in this country. Does it mean United States of America? Aggravated assaults account for the highest number of violent crimes in this country. As an American citizen, how do you think about the highest number of violent crime in the United States? Is aggravated assaults or not? Yes, that's good. It's true. Firearms are used in more than half of all murders in the United States. Firearms are used in more than half of murders in the United States. How do you think about it? It is true or false? Despite extensive media coverage about mass killing, shooting spears are rare in the United States. Despite extensive media coverage about mass killing, shooting sprees are rare in the United States. Is it true or false? It is not true. The West is the most violent region in the United States. The West is the most violent region in the United States. Is it true or false? And finally, the presence of more guns tends to indicate the likelihood of more homicides. More guns, more homicides, more likelihood. It's true. For this question, think about something. Ease of access for everything will end to the increase of a rate of accessing and rate of usage of that problem or that matter. For example, for smoking, ease of access to cigarette ends to the highest rate of cigarette usage, tobacco usage, or for alcohol also, and everything which has an ease of access. It is a very good situation to access that material and will end to increase the usage of that matter or that object and other things. In this question, we are talking about the ease of access to guns and the rates of homicides. Residents in urban area experience the highest rates of violence. Residents in the urban areas experience the highest rates of violence. True or false? In each year, about 50% of violent victimizations are reported to the police. Every year or each year, half of the violent victimizations are reported to police and half of them are not reported to police. Is it true or false? True. Okay. The first subject is about the essence of violence and deviance. What is deviance? Deviance is any behavior, belief, or condition that violates significant social norms in the society or group in which it occurs. So, about deviance, we have some keywords. At first, the essence of deviance is not only a behavior. Deviance can be a belief or can be a condition, circumstance that violates significant social norms. So, we have some degrees of relativity for the conditions, for the beliefs, for the behaviors that can be considered as deviance. Why? Because it is related to the significant social norms, and because social norms are different from one society to another society, from one culture to another culture, from one community to another community. Because of that, significant social norms are very different in different countries, in different societies. And deviance is defined at the same society which that behavior, belief, or condition occurs. The critical variable in the study of deviance, then, is the social audience rather than the individual actor, since it is the audience which eventually determines whether or not any episodes of behavior or any class of episode is labeled deviant. As we talk about it, it is related to the observer. It is related to the norms, cultural norms, not cross-cultural norms, not international norms. It is related to cultural norms, cultural behavior, normal behavior. And finally, it is related to the audience and to the observer, uh, who is looking at that behavior in what context. What context? In operational definition of deviance, context is more important than content, than shape, than form. Context is the background of the values. It is about the rooted values or rooted standards and rooted ideas in a society, in a culture, to consider a behavior as deviance or not. What is crime? So deviance is from behaviors, beliefs, or conditions. But a crime is a behavior that violation criminal law and is punishable with fines, jail terms, and or other negative sanctions. So you should pay attention that in the definition of crime, we have some keywords. At first, crime is an action. Crime is a function. Crime is a behavior. You should be able to measure and to observe the crime. If you cannot measure the crime, if you cannot observe the crime, totally it is not crime. It is not punishable. The second part is crime should be punishable. Crime should have some punishments like fines, like jail terms, like sanctions, and criminal law. So we have three parts. At first, criminal law, violation, criminal law. Two, punishment. And three, or the first one maybe, it is behavior. But juvenile delinquency refers to a violation of law or the commission of a status offense by young people. As you see, we say juvenile. It is young people. Adolescents are a little a little older than adolescents. Violation of law. So, crime is a total word, is a whole word, is a global word for any action which is out of law, which is out of criminal law. It is illegal and it is punishable. Punishment is a very important part of operational definition of crime. Juvenile delinquency refers to a violation of law or the commission of a status offense by young people. What is social control? In different part of this course as sociology, we talk about the different aspects to society and different functions of society. One of the functions of society is social control. Social control refers to the systematic practices that social groups develop in order to encourage conformity to norms, rules, and laws, and to discourage deviance. So social norms, because social control is related to the social norms, is related to social groups. One person cannot change, determine, or establish social control because society is related at first and basically is related to groups. So social control is done by social groups. And what the social groups are doing when they want to do the social control, they develop systematic practices. Why? To encourage the conformity to norms, rules, and laws, and to discourage deviance. Stop deviance and start and spread and broadcast the norms and the laws and the rules. In criminology, as I said to you before in the previous sessions and previous chapters about the logi is the suffix which is meant knowledge about criminology. Criminology is the knowledge about crime. Is the systematic study. Pay attention, please. Be careful that at the first chapter we said that sociology is science. Because of that, we say logi. Logi is knowledge, and sociology is systematic studying, systematic investigation of human societies and of social behavior, social actions, and social norms and other things. So when we say sociology is the systematic scientific studying, it is about the systematic study of everything which is under umbrella, the name of the title of sociology. One of them may be criminology. Criminology is the systematic study of the crime and the criminal justice system, including the police, courts, and prisons. It's very interesting. Criminology is not only about the crimes, also it is about the criminal justice system, not only about the crime or criminal. One part is about the crimes and criminals. One part it is about the criminal justice system, the issues for justice system, and also the most important issue of justice system, that is justice, which is justice, is one of the major and basic discussions in the science so-called criminology. As you remember, we had different perspectives on sociology and on society. From the history of the sociology, we learned that we had different approaches to society and to look for what the main components of factors that can be effective in the social norms, in the social behavior, in the social chaotic circumstances or the no social continuous serenity and, for example, sense of security in a society and other things that can be offered to people, to members of the society, to members of a group, to members of a community, as the advantages, as the competitive advantages to other cultures, in contrast to other cultures, other countries, and other parts of a human society. We were talking about the different approaches to human being in society. One of the first was functionalist perspectives on society, sociology, and so human society. Now we are talking about the deviance, and again we are talking about the deviance in different approaches received from sociology. At first, functionalist perspectives. According to Durkheim, deviance is rooted in social factors such as rapid social change and lack of social interaction among people. As you remember, Durkheim was talking about suicide and talking about social rapid change and social factors and about the social integration and shared values and shared meaning in a society. In the other part, in the other hand, if a healthy society is based upon the social facts and social acts, now we can talk about social deviance based upon the social factors like, for example, rapid social change. If there are a lot of immediate social change in a society, so there's no harmonization between the different elements of that society, and in this gap, these gaps between the elements, between the components, between structural components of society, we can see social changes, we can see some deviance by the, based upon the operational definition. We talk about the deviance. Deviance is any behavior, belief, or condition that violates significant social norms in society or group in which it occurs. In rapid social change, when you are talking about the change and rapid social change, honestly, you are talking about this rapid social norms, changing norms. Okay, but when the norms are changing, we have a lot of gap, a lot of distances between the for have establishment, a good harmonization between different normal elements for definition of normality in the society. So it's a chaotic situation. Old norms are going out and new norms are coming and coming down, and establishment, and the society is ready to get the new norms in this um, time duration, in this time interval. We have a lot of chaotic problems. Some parts of chaotic problems are deviance and criminal problems. Deviance serves three functions. It's good for us. Deviance clarifies the rules. When there are a lot of and different and um, variant types of deviance, we need some details rules. And talking about details and rules help us to have clarification about the rules. Deviances united a group. Why? Because two group of peoples are involved with deviance. One, criminal people. Two, victims. For example, for gangs, we have a good unification and good union situation between the members of it. For example, armed gangs. And in the other parts, in the other hand, we have victims related to that deviance or to that crime. Again, we have a good union, a good united situation between the crimes to be together to act against the crime and act against the, for example, deviance. And deviance promotes social change. It is mutual interaction, social change, especially rapid social change can cause some types of deviances, and deviance can cause social change. Also, the social change gained from resulted from deviance is not so rapid. It is very gradually social change. Strain theory, one of the functionalist perspectives on deviance, it is strain theory. It is coined by Merton. Merton strain theory argues that people feel a strain when they are exposed to cultural goals that they are unable to obtain because they don't have access to the culturally approved means of achieving those goals. People feel pressure, feel strain when they want to when they want to achieve some goals, some cultural goals, but they don't have any means of production, any means of achieving, which are rooted in the same culture that they want to go for achieving that culture goals. Merchant strain theory argues that people feel strain when they are exposed to cultural goals that they are unable to obtain because they do not have access to culturally approved means of achieving those goals. Another theory for functional perspectives is illegitimate opportunity structures, which is very popular these days all around the world. When you are easy money by using illegitimate opportunities, illegitimate chances, it is a high rate, high probability to the deviance among a lot of people. According to Clover and Olin, illegitimate opportunity structures are circumstances that provide an opportunity for people to acquire through illegitimate activities what they cannot achieve through legitimate channels. When in a society you see that there is a good money, and sometimes when it is hidden deviance, and the audience only see that the good money and welfare, good home, and good time and happy time and other things, they say, "Wow, such a good life they have. What is their source of money, source of income?" And it is not legitimate, it is illegitimate. But I don't have any long life. My life is not short. My life is too short. So it's not important how to gain money I need to have a good time, legitimate or illegitimate. This theory, this phrase, legitimate opportunity structures, indicated this fact that if is gaining money, earning money, based upon the legitimate processes, legitimate procedures, is is much more much easier than legitimate process. A lot of people want to have some illegitimate ways to earning money and other welfare and well-being facilities. Illegitimate opportunity structures are circumstances, that circumstances in the deep parts of government, in the deep parts of societies, in the deep part of leadership, macro leadership, not micro leadership. The structures are in those parts, which is not in the surface of the governments, of the families, of the communities, a very deep part. Illegitimate opportunity structures are circumstances that provide an opportunity for people to acquire through illegitimate activity what they cannot achieve through legitimate channels. The second perspective on uh, sociology was the conflict perspectives. And we are talking now about the conflict perspectives on deviance. So illegitimate opportunity structure and strain theory sub-organization or sub-categorization for functionalist perspectives. And now we are talking about the conflict perspectives on deviance. Those in power define what is deviant and what is not. For writing the history, everybody knows that winners write the history. Why? At first, because the winners are survivors of the war. They are alive and they can write the history, write the narration of the history of the events. Secondly, someone who wins a fight and he or she or his government, his community, his organization is winner has the power to change not the game, to change the narration of the game. So, history is written by the winners, just like here. Those in power define what is deviant and what is not deviant. Something that culture in the other theories for interpreting the deviance in a community, in a society. In those parts, we say cultural norms define what is deviant and what is not. Now, in the conflict perspective, the class conflicts, for example, gender conflicts, race conflicts, ethnical conflicts, religious maybe conflicts, and other things, social class conflicts. In these approaches to interpreting and to determine what is deviance and what is not deviance, we have the power supply, the power holders. The criminal justice focuses on certain groups such as young, single urban males. Deviance and crime are a function of the capitalist economic system. Why? Because sometimes we see it is not so fair, but as a result, as a byproduct, as a side effect of capitalism, as a social structure, as a felt structure, we cannot see uh, so good a lot of fair injustice systems. So because of that, the criminal justice system protects those in power, protects the power holder, uh, which is not about honestly justice, yes, but it is capitalism. It should not be, but in reality it is that a lot of criminal justice system is charged and is strengthening strength by the capitalistic companies, capitalistic approaches, and capitalistic uh, view to life and view to society, companies and organizations. So also it is justice system. They should not talk about the justice and injustice based upon the money and capitalism, but sometimes, especially in the capitalistic system, we see that justice system is serving only for power holders. Another things. So, at this perspective, we are talking about the power holders as a conflict, and we have some gender-based talking about the society. For example, gender conflicts. One of the greatest movement and the most famous movement uh, that defends the role and importance of the females in the society, in the human societies, is feminism. As you see, that the root of the phrase is female, and feminism scholars say that theories of deviance used to explain male behavior cannot be used to explain female behavior. They said that we are confronting with different personality feature, different personality traits between, for example, females and males. And the same crime system, the same justice system that which is used for male problems, male crimes, cannot be used for the female crimes, because this is something like different seasons of life. In developmental psychology, we say it is the lifespan developmental psychology, from the beginning, the beginning moments of confirming zygote uh, in the body of mothers, until when you say goodbye to the world, until your death. It is developmental psychology, and it is lifespan developmental psychology, because everything is being changed with or without any force. Natural force is the major force for making change in human being and other beings, not only human beings, as a changing force. Okay, so we have three approaches to feminism here: liberal feminist approach, radical feminist approach. Always these are in opposition together: liberal approaches and radical approaches, and socialist or Marxist feminist approach. Liberal feminism is the variety of feminism that works within the structure of mainstream society to integrate women into that structure. Its roots stretch back to social contract theory, a government instituted by the American Revolution. So you can see that in liberal feminism, we say that uh, about the equal rights between the men and women, especially for the women. But in radical feminism, it is liberal. Radical feminism provides an important foundation for the rest of feminist flavors. Seen by many as the undesirable element of feminism, radical feminism is actually the breeding ground for many of the ideas arising from the feminism. Ideas which get shaped and pounded out in various ways by other, but not all branches of feminism. It's radical, intrinsic, and natural value for being a woman, not only specific values for females. Very different in values and very equal in the rights. We are different people, but we don't have any uh, different rights. The same justice, the same rights, the same social opportunities, which is also very good. But as a radical approach, sometimes you see that, uh, okay, uh, near half of people around the world are females, and they have a very basic and crucial in shaping everybody, personality of everybody, destiny and destination of everybody, because she's always a mother. Okay, very, very good and very, very history making and change and game changing role for the mothers and for other females. But in radicalism, in feminism, it is very, very bold protest against the males, uh, not in the side of even being a woman. It is sometimes against men. And Marxist and socialist feminism, Marxism recognizes that women are oppressed and attributes to oppression to the capitalist private property system. Thus, they insist that the only way to end the oppression of women is to overthrow the capitalist system. Socialist feminism is the result of Marxism meeting radical feminism. The third approach to sociology, and now in deviance, it's symbolic interactions perspectives. One of the perspectives is differential association theory. Differential association theory states that people have a great tendency to deviate from societal norms when they frequently associate with individuals who are more favorable toward deviance than conformity. It is the, we say in psychology, we have a word, it is inducing effect. Inducing effect is that when you live with another one who has a lot of specific behaviors, mindset, emotions, after sometimes living with him, living with her, has an inducing effect on your personality. You will be, by different degrees, very same and very similar to that person. It is differential association theory. States that the people have a greater tendency to deviate from societal norms when they frequently associate with individuals who are more favorable to deviance than conformity. The next symbolic interactions perspective is the rational choice theory. Gradually, step by step, slowly, we are entering some attractive, deep, and applicable theories about the social aspects of deviance. One of them is the rational choice theory. At first, I highly recommend it to you to read the book Choice Theory. It is a very modern and very new brand of psychology, especially psychotherapy. And now we have rational choice theory. Why we choose to be deviant? It is the question. It's a great question. Why do we choose? Not by accident. Why do we choose to be a deviant? Based upon this theory, deviance states that deviant behavior occurs when a person weighs the cost and benefits of non-conventional or criminal behavior and determines that the benefits will outweigh the risks involved in such actions. It's a catastrophe in your personality when you can outweigh the risks and the dangers, the hazards involved in deviant behaviors, non-conventional behaviors, criminal behaviors. It's a catastrophe for your personality, for your destiny, when you cannot determine, you cannot distinguish the good or bad in one or two or more than two situations as criminal situations. So you see that people choose to be bad people, to be criminal, to have some non-conventional behaviors by their rationality, as a rational choice, not as an uh, non-wise, unwise choice. They think, yes, it is good. Why? Because we have cost and benefit analysis for everything, and the cost is lower than the benefits for being a criminal, for have some non-conventional actions. It is good. Costs are lower than benefits, so it is profitable. It is very profitable. It is rational choice theory. And social band theory. Social band theory holds that the probability of deviant behavior increases when a person's ties to society are weakened or broken. The problem of identity, the problem of social bands, the problem of loneliness, the problem of being at the corner of your society community. You are so prone uh, to be a criminal, to be someone with a lot of deviance, non-conventional behavior. What are the social ties, for example, attachment, commitments, involvement, and beliefs? In these four concepts, we can see the social ties, which are very important for everybody to have such social ties. Why? Because it is a sense of belongingness to your community, to your society, and can keep you away from deviance in the other parts and other hands and other looking at life and society, it is very, very logical, very rational to be a bad guy for other people in your society. Why? There's no attachment, there's no commitment, there's no sense of belongingness to the community, there is no involvement in the community, there is no good belief about being good in your community, being a good citizen in your, for example, country or society. Another, it is labeling theory. You see that symbolic interactions perspective talk about the symbols, about the concepts. For example, labeling theory states that deviance is a socially constructed process. Socially constructed process in which social control agencies designate certain people as deviants, and they, in turn, come to accept the label placed upon them and begin to act accordingly. Fake it, and after that, make it. Labeling theory states that deviance is a socially constructed process. Sometimes you can see the societies are building, are developing, are making crimes. Healthy societies, normal societies, famous societies, without any intention to produce non-conventional behavior, criminal behaviors. They don't want to do it. Why? They do it so constructual. In which social control agencies designate certain people as deviants, and they in turn come to accept the label placed upon them and begin to act accordingly, especially in the adolescence, in the child, in the early young people. When you say you are not so good, you are not a good guy, you are a bad guy, you are a bad citizen. Okay, I accept your label, and I will show you that how bad I can be. It is the minimum rating, it is the minimum level of being bad, being criminal, being non-conventional. I will show you because it will be my social identity, because you as the social members produces some structured process for being and producing and becoming other people's, like criminals or non-conventional people. So we have three types of deviance labeling: primary deviance, secondary deviance, and tertiary deviance. Primary deviance refers to the initial act of rule breaking at first. The first experience. Second one occurs when a person who has been labeled a deviant accepts that new identity and continues to be deviant behavior. At first, I did something wrong, and you as society said to me, "Uh-oh, you are deviant." After that, sometimes I said, "Oh, it is accidental. I was in the pressure. It was a strain theory. I was in the strain that I cannot." It's illegitimate theory, opportunity structures. Why? Because I didn't know about the consequences of my actions. But now I know that I was false. It stops at the primary deviance. But in a lot of times they said, "Yes, guys, now I am deviant. And everybody knows that I am deviant. And I accept my label as a deviant. And I will progress to be deviant." And in the third part, deviance, when a person who has been labeled a deviant seeks to normalize the behavior by relabeling it as non-deviant. It is normal. Everybody is deviant here. Sometimes our normality is related to statistical normality, that you can see that there is no abnormality here. Everybody in this society, in this, for example, gang societies can be a deviant people, right? It is normal. The third part of labeling, deviant people try to normalize their behavior, and they said Yes. Also, it is not good behavior. It is not socially acceptable behaviors in other societies. But now here, it is very, very normal to be a bad guy, to be deviant. It's the third part. When a person who has been labeled as a deviant seeks to normalize the behavior by relabeling it and as non-deviant. You can see here the postmodern perspective, everything in postmodern, I talked about it in the previous sessions, that emphasize the study of deviance reveals how the powerful exert control over the powerless by taking away their free will to think and act as they might choose. It is in postmodern perspective, we are talking about the interactions between power holders and the role of free will. It's your choice. It is not only the action of, for example, society and non. It is not action of, for example, labelizing or strength theory or illegitimate, uh, for example, structures. No, it is your choice. And you as a deviant should be responsible and should be accountable. We have a polling question. We can think about it. What theory of deviance do you find more compelling? And crime classifications. The last part of our session is about classifications of crime: violent crime, property crime, victimless crime, occupational crimes, corporate crimes, internet crimes, organized crime, political crimes, and terrorism. Violent crime consists of actions involving force or the threat of force against others. Every action included force, involving force, or threat of force against others. It is violent crime. In violent definition of violent crime, we have two keywords. At first, force. Second, against. Force against is violent crime, like murder, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. Property crime includes burglary, motor vehicle theft, larceny theft, and arson. Everything which is related to your property is a type of crime. Victimless crimes are those that involve a willing exchange of illegal goods or servicing among adults. In this type of crime, there is no victim. There is no victim. Only services or illegal goods or services among adults. What is about this type of crime? It is the crime about the illegal services or illegal goods. It is victimless crime. At the first and the surface, you can see nobody is victimized here. Why should you, uh, why do you call it a crime? Everybody is satisfied here. Yes, it is exchange of illegal goods or services. Yes, I know. But it is not about the people. It is about goods. It's about services. Is it only crime? Yes. It is victimless crime. Should the punishment for victims be the same as for violent crimes? In violent crimes, we have some people. For example, in violent crimes, we have against others. In property crime, it is about the legal goods, but not using or abusing the legal goods, for example, motor vehicles. And in victimless crime, we don't have any action against other people, and we haven't abused the legal usage, legal properties, for example, motorcycles. But now we have presented some illegal services or illegal goods in this term, with victim, without victim, with the abuse of legal properties, and without victim, but with use of illegal property or illegal services. You think about it. Should the punishment for a victimless crime be the same as for violent crimes? You think about it. And occupational crimes and illegal activities committed by people in the course of their employment or financial affairs. Other things in corporate crimes, illegal acts committed by corporate employees on behalf of the corporation and with its support. Occupational crime are related to the occupational environment, the office, to the employee and employers. It is not related to the essence and type of the occupation. It is related to the environment of job. But corporate crimes are related to the legal and illegal rights of the corporate. It is not about the people. It is not about employee or employers. It is corporate crimes, business crime, organizational crimes. And internet crimes consist of FBI-related scams, identity theft, advance fee fraud, and other things, and overpayment fraud and other things. Every crime which is located, which is done, which is conducted in the internet and cyberspace. Organized crime is a business operation that supplies illegal goods and services for profit. Organized crime. And as you see, it is a business operation. Organized crime. It's a business. You can see it. But the goods and services they are providing is illegal goods and services. Because of that, we are an organization. We are a syndicate. We are a union for doing something as an organization with a shared goal, which sometimes with shared meanings. But the problem for being a crime is, for having a crime is, it is illegal services. We are providing illegal services or goods. Political crimes refer to illegal or unethical acts. It is the first time that in addition to illegal, we have the word unethical acts involving the suppression of power by government officials or illegal or unethical acts perpetrated against the government by outsiders seeking to make a political statement, undermine the government, or overthrow it. Political crimes is not about people. It's not about the robberies. It is not about the bankruptcies. It is not about the illegal goods or illegal services. It is about the connection and abuse of governmental powers. It is about that. It's about the relationship between the countries, and it is about the policies and the art of administration of countries as policies. So it is called political crimes. And the final term is terrorism. As you can see now, all around the world, terrorism is the first threatening against human beings. After 9/11, we have a serious will in all the countries to battle against terrorism. Terrorism is a calculated, unlawful use of physical force or threats of violence against persons or property in order to intimidate or coerce a government, organization, or individual for the purpose of gaining some political, religious, economic, or social objective. Very, very prepared and well-defined and well-prepared organizations are used now for terrorism all around the world with different degrees also. It is not the same degree. For example, some parts of Asia, terrorism is more important and more, even sometimes it is lawful. They say it is governmental terrorism. Some governments in some parts of the world, they are offering terrorism as a good, as service to other countries or other parts of the world. Is punishment as action designed to deprive a person of things of value because of some offense the person is thought to have committed. Punishment should reduce the risk, the probability of relapse or doing again something should reduce it. If the punishment cannot reduce the future probability of recurrency of something, it is not punishment. The best definition, it is some fining. Only that, some fining. Punishment, basically, the goal of punishment is reducing the probability of recurrency and relapse of the same previous bad behavior or malbehavior. It is retribution, general deterrence, incapacitation, and rehabilitation. And what is our last polling question? What is the most important function of prison? Think about it. What is the most important function of prison? It is a very humanistic question. Okay, everybody. I am so glad to be with you. For the previous near 1 hour, we talk about the different sociological aspects of crimes, and I'm waiting to hear from you about the course, and that's it. Bye bye.